You clicked on the video because you want to know how to create this 3x3 piston door. Well, first of all, I'm just going to explain about this piston door because it's not like many you would have seen. Main part being is that it's actually completely embedded into the floor, meaning that you won't have to actually place this within the walls. It'll be completely in the floor. And that means you won't have the issue of, a massive machine going around. Another thing you may know about this, as you can see, this is completely flush with the wall. So if you were to turn this door into a material that's the same as this door frame and the same as the rest of the wall, it can be completely hidden. Example, you could have this all dirt and put it on the side of a mountain, and you could have a completely hidden 3x3 piston door. But one of the main best parts about this door is the use of buttons, because these buttons act quite like levers, as they'd have two different versions. As there are two different buttons on either side. You see, when you press this button, it will open the door. And when you press it again, it will close the door. The reason we're using buttons here is because on this side, we can close it. And open it again. Which is perfect for people who want to use this as a proper door that closes behind them, instead of a lever, which just leaves it open. Let's get into the tutorial, shall we? This machine here consists of 7 blocks of width and 7 blocks of length. Now you see the height is a bit different, as the height is actually from the flooring underneath the machine all the way to 11. So the 11th block here is the flooring, meaning that you will need a total of 10 blocks space underneath the machine. And in terms of the actual door itself, above ground, you'll need 15 blocks in total, but 4 blocks above the floor. Let's go into the item list. This here is the item list. You see, we have 32 polished andesite. Now, the polished andesite is actually the flooring block. You can change this to any kind of flooring block you want. And yeah, this is just the flooring block. You can choose any kind of block you want. Blue wool. This is the blocks we will be placing the redstone on, and you'll need 31 of them. This doesn't have to be blue wool. This can be any kind of block as long as it's a solid block. 31 redstone dust. This is self-explanatory. It's just redstone dust. 31 of that. 24 furnaces. Now, these don't have to be furnaces, although they do have to be immovable blocks. So, furnaces, obsidian, barrels, anything that is immovable by pistons will work for this, as long as it's a solid block, of course. White concrete. 22 white concrete. This is the door frame. This can be any kind of block you want. This is for the door frame. Any solid block you want. Well, not even solid block. Doesn't really matter. 18 iron blocks. The iron blocks are actually for the door block, meaning you can have any kind of block, as long as it's a movable block. So this is the opposite of the furnace, and no furnaces, no barrels, no obsidian. That will not work for this. 18 slime blocks, 10 observers, 9 honey blocks, 9 sticky pistons, 3 redstone repeaters, 2 gold blocks. Now, you don't have to have 2 gold blocks. They can be just your regular floor block. You see, I've had them through here because simply to outline the buttons. And 2 oak buttons. You don't have to have them oak. They can be any kind of button, absolutely any kind, wooden or stone. You could probably use stone. They'd probably work a bit better than wooden. But that is completely up to you. Let's begin the tutorial. So I want you to come to the front of your build. You should have your area marked out by now. And what I want you to do is I want you to go to the direct middle. So there should be 4 blocks in from the width and 4 blocks in from the length. And just place your regular block in the middle. Then I want you to place a block either side, widthwise. So you should have 3 blocks just in the middle. And coming to the back, I just want you to place 2 blocks behind the original block. So you should have a miniature cross facing forwards. Then what I want you to do is I want you to grab your redstone dust, and on these original 3 blocks, just place it on top. Then I also want you to place redstone dust on the back block, just like that, and a redstone repeater on the only other remaining exposed block, facing forwards, just as so. Then I want you to grab your blocks And I want you to come to the side of this redstone here towards the left from facing forwards. I just want you to place a block on the side of the redstone just like that. So it's one up and one forwards. And then place redstone on top of that. I just want you to repeat that 2 more times on this block. And on this block, just like this. So you should have something that looks a bit like this. Next, I want you to go back to it, and I actually want you to continue the staircase, but this time going forwards. So I want you to build 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Just like that. And you should just be on the edge of the bounding box here, on both sides. If you have, then you've done it correctly. Then what I want you to do is I just want you to build 6 blocks out across to the right from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you can place redstone on the first, the second, the third, the fourth, and the 6th block that you put out. And another repeater is going to go on this block here facing towards the left. And next I just want you to come to this block here at the end, the rightmost block at the top, and I just want you to build 6 towards this way, towards the back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then place redstone all on top of that. This is the activation mechanism done. Let's get to the actual machine. What I want you to do is I want you to come down to the front here, and where these 3 redstone are, I want you to place your immovable block just on the side of these facing forwards, 1 up. Just like that. Then what I want you to do is I want you to grab your slime, your observers, your honey, and your sticky pistons, and I want you to place 2 slime blocks on top of the leftmost immovable block and the rightmost. And you want to put honey blocks in the middle, just like that. You see, we're going to build this component here 3 times, but 2 of them are going to be slime and 1 of them are going to be honey. Basically, we want 3 of these components, but we don't want them to stick to each other. We're using slime and honey to separate them from each other, so they are 3 separate machines that can push all the blocks. But next, we want to come to the back here, and on the side of these 3 here, we want to place observers with the red dot facing up. So it should be like this, and then we want to put sticky pistons up just like that. Perfect. Then what we want to do is we want to come here and we want to place 2 slime blocks to each of these sides on top of these sticky pistons, and then the 2 honey blocks just like that. So now what I want you to do is I want you to grab your regular blocks, and I just want you to place 1 block right down here. Just this 1 block on this 1 machine to the left. To the right. Just here. Then what I want you to do is I want you to put an observer with the red dot facing out, coming from the right of it. Then what I want you to do is I want you to place a block to the right and under, just like this, and a redstone dust. Just there. So you should have a block, the observer, going into the redstone dust, which is on top of one of these blocks. Then I want you to create another staircase, going 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks up, just like this. Then I want you to just, put 1 block here. Sorry, no, 1 immovable block here, and 4 out. So 4 immovable blocks just coming out like this. And I want you to put 1 of your repeaters. Just put 1 right there. 3 redstone dust. The repeater should be facing into these redstone dust here. And that should be fine. Next, to finish off these parts, we just want to, on these top layer here, for these, we want to place their respective blocks coming out towards the front, so we should have a little gap down here. And then grab your sticky pistons, and you just want to place them just like that underneath. And now these pistons should be facing down, and these pistons should be facing up. And you should have something that looks quite a lot like this. And now what you want to do is you want to grab your blocks again, and on the other side of this, you want to do the same again. So you want to come out with their respective blocks, just like this. So slime, to the right, to the left, and the honey block in the middle. So you should have something that looks a bit like this. Then what you want to do is you want to grab your observers, and this time what we want to do is we actually want to place them here, here, and here on top of the blocks we just placed, which should have the face facing these redstone dust here, and the redstone part facing out towards the front. Then we want to get these sticky pistons and place 1, 2, and 3 in the direct center of it, just in front of the redstone dots. Then what you want to do is you want to place probably a temporary block, so maybe grab a piece of dirt. I'm just going to use one of my regular blocks, and just place one right here. This will be temporary, you don't need to use this. But then what we want to do is we actually want to create the door itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to place 3 slime on top of each other. Then what we're going to do is on the side of this, towards the left, we're going to place 3 honey and 3 slime, just like this. Now we can break the block, and if you get your iron blocks here, you can now fill in the door on both sides. I'm using iron blocks, you can use any kind of blocks, it really doesn't matter. The rest of it should be quite self-explanatory, but what we do want to do is we want to place a furnace, or your removable block, to the side here, and to the side here of the door, on the top 2 sides where the slime blocks are, just like this. And what I want you to do is I want you to create a little frame. So I want you to build 3 blocks up on each side with these, with your removable block, 4 actually, not 3. And then I just want you to bridge the gap, just like this. Basically, this won't be our actual frame, this will be the frame for this, because we want these blocks to stop in place when they hit the roof. But we don't want to have some complex mechanism underneath do that, or we can have furnaces, or any other kind of removable block. And basically this will stop that, and it also won't slide off of the frame blocks. But you see, we don't actually see these unless we're inside the door, because what we're going to do is we are going to place our frame block around just like this. If you really want to, you can break these 2 here, but don't put any blocks in their place. And don't put any blocks next to these, or actually any other block next to any of these slime or honey blocks. No blocks should be down here, just leave it completely hollow. There should be nothing down here, other than what we've built. There can be like the walls and that around this area, of course, but like don't put any blocks inside. And of course the final part is the flooring. So we're just going to build a small flooring. Well, it's technically not the final part, we're getting close to that though. But we just need to build the flooring, which I'm using andesite here for. And just like that, we have finished that. Then what we want to do is our 2 blocks of gold here, I should have put them here. But what we want to do is we want to come down to the front right corner and place our block with our button on. Of course, this can be the floor block or anything. It doesn't have to be gold or anything, but the button needs to be here. I'm just marking it out. And also on the back right block, we also need to put our block here and a button. And now, the last piece that we need to do to finish this up is just come down back to this area here. Do you remember where the observers were and the furnaces were that we put earlier, or the immovable blocks? Well, what we want to do is this repeater here. We actually want to put it on the 3rd tick, just like this. So you want to click it twice and leave it just like that. This will make a delay for these and will stop it breaking. And of course, to finish the entire thing off, you want to grab some more observers. And on these 3 blocks here, you just basically want to put some temporary blocks, probably on these 3 pistons here by the front. And then you just want to kind of get the observers and place them facing. It's a bit difficult. You might want to break these, actually. Then place these 3 so the red dots are facing into the machine. Break these and then put them back. Just like that. And that will finish off the machine. We didn't want to place those earlier because it could have set off by itself. That's happened to me a couple of times, which is why we saved those for last. And now the machine should be 100% functional. You see, right, it should be working now. Once you press the button, it'll open. When you press the button, it'll close. Yes, I apologize if the tutorial was a bit confusing recently because of well, I kind of messed up off camera, and I set it off a bit prematurely, so I had to rebuild it again, and I missed some parts. But basically, this is now done. The machine itself is completely fine. One thing I do want to say, actually, about the buttons is that they don't have to be here. They don't have to be 2 buttons. They can be 1 or 3 or as many as you want, really. There's no end to how many buttons you could have. The only requirement for these buttons is that they connect to this redstone line. Or actually, more specifically, they need to connect to this repeater here. As soon as they power this redstone and this redstone repeater, any button will work. So any kind of buttons, so wooden, stone, any kind, and anywhere as well, as long as they just connect to that small area there, it will work just as usual, which is why it can also be used as a hidden door. You can also do pressure plates, I guess, although that'd be pretty hard to kind of use. They'd be a bit awkward. Actually, no, they wouldn't. Pressure plates would not be awkward to use, let's be honest. They would not actually be that awkward to use, so they should be fine. So there shouldn't be any technical problems. If there is, there's probably something to do with either the block choice you've chosen, or the way you've built the machine, or the machine has been activated prematurely, which you've got to be very careful not to activate these observers prematurely, as it will go off. So, with all that said, I will leave you with this closed door. And there's nothing else more to say. Goodbye, everyone.